thanks so much for joining us, and thanks for keeping your questions coming.
Can we move 50 meters, bearing 115? Thank you.
Yeah, the tragic part about that camera is the titanium housing and the dome are timeless, right? They don't. That technology hasn't changed, and that's the most expensive part. The camera's pennies compared to the 6,000 meter housing and the dome and all the spare connectors and such we have for it. So we need to find a camera that pans and tilts that will fit inside that housing and will integrate with our system. And we need to be able to do that in the off time while we're not using it to fly the ROV. So we have a few candidates, haven't decided yet.
And the off season this year for EV Nautilus is going to be quite short, right?
Yeah, it might not happen.
Yeah, we'll be out here exploring until almost Christmas time. I think December 21st or 22nd is the end of the next expedition.
Sorry, I'll come down and grab it.
And then turning it back around, I think in February or March, right?
Correct, yeah.
So those super fans out there that tune in all the time, there is going to be a much shorter off season for you to wait this year.
Erin just popped in to thank everyone for allowing her to film them.
Oh.
The behind the scenes footage she was gathering in the van.
Can't hear you at all now, Steve. Why not force?
I'm with you, Dan. He's very quiet in my headphones too.
Check, check.
Steve, we can't hear you.
You have to put your mic closer, I think.
Could we get lasers on?
Roger.
Check, check.
Look at Gabby, he's pressing
Still
buttons
can't hear
faster
you.
than I can grab my mouse.
I'm practicing. I'm practicing trying to think about more than one thing at once.
Kim, can you give us the name of this one more time?
Sure. This is a polyopagon sponge, I believe.
I'm gonna rotate around for you.
Oh, that's okay. I was going to keep up.
Were you just allowing me to show off, or did you need that for data collection?
I am writing notes to myself because I can't remember the name of these things.
All right. Well, when we're mapping over the next couple days, I'm working on my Latin name list, so maybe we can work together on that.
I need like regular names though. The Latin names just don't stick for me.
Well, I think the reason the polyopagon is sticking with me is because it has a lot of shapes. So if you think about polygon, polyopagon,
I like that.
kind of sticks.
How's that sound?
Yeah,
That's
I can
better.
hear you.
Oh.
Erin just wanted to thank everyone for being a good sport while she came in and filmed.
Oh.
Oh, no worries. It was an active day in the van today. We had Justin in here and Aaron.
That's why Justin popped in. He wanted to get his shot on the
on the documentary.
His camera
video.
time.
I think Erin got a nice photo for him.
Nice.
I've actually been bugging him to be able to get into the raw data for all of our video grabs and still pictures. So be able to look at them in a file browser where you can click on it and see the preview as opposed to the painful web interface where you click on it and have a cup of coffee and wait for that image to appear.
And so now you said, hey, I helped you out.
That's
Well, no,
right.
he was sitting here and then Gabby forced him into the seat.
He kept shaking his head and...
So Dan still doesn't have his photos, is what it sounds like.
No, I still don't have my photos. But
So you did come and ask me last night.
I've been trying for like 3 days to find all the photo grabs we did of the Dr. Seuss sponge.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. I can give you those.
I was going to do I have a newish laptop that has the horsepower to do some photogrammetry and thought it might be fun.
That would be fun, yeah. I love the Dr. Seuss sponge.
But
Jeez, this
I know we did
has
2
gone on a
complete
lot longer than I expected.
pirouettes around it, but I can't find the photos. And like these random TIFFs that you click on, then they have to load in the web page and you can't. No.
I was thinking it would be great just to do kind of like an
One more
installation.
50-meter move. Then we
is
should be at the bottom.
an installation of 3D printed sponges, right? That you could though put
We still
where
have 25 meters to go on our current
people could walk
move.
through them actually.
75 more meters.
Yeah.
So those laser dots are 10 centimeters apart. That's why you hear us asking for lasers on, to be able to know how large these sponges and corals and organisms are. And then sometimes we want the lasers off.
Also helps the pilots know how far away they are from things sometimes.
Sure, sure.
That's a really good point, actually. It can be pretty hard to like discern depth.
Especially in
the cameras we look at are all just flat.
It's really cool when you have them on 2 tilting cameras, because you can do like the helicopter pilots do. So you can make one go below the other. So if you're getting closer, the lasers are getting farther away or closer together.
Oh.
And then when they converge, you have a known distance. That's what the rescue helicopters use. So they have 3 lasers pointing at the cliff, so they know how close they can get before the rotor blades touch.
No kidding.
Because these lasers, although they look like they're getting closer, they're actually parallel, correct?
Correct, yeah. It's parallax error there for the camera, but if you have them on 2 different cameras, you can kind of make them converge at some convenient distance. Works for altitude or cliffs as well.
So we got a question from a young viewer. Can these sponges move if they decide they don't like where they are?
Good question. Oh,
I don't think so. I don't know of a sponge that is able to move. I think that once they start off small, if the habitat is good for them, they grow larger. So I think we've seen a lot of smaller sponges, and I think if the environment is good, they continue to grow.
Yeah, thanks for that question. Sponges are animals, but they're what we call sessile animals, which means that they don't move.
Nav.
I recall hearing
I'm
about
lagging.
a species of sponge that was able to move.
Meters?
What?
Bearing 115. Thank you, Alex.
In the Arctic, apparently. The Arctic Ocean.
Is that spiral one also a bamboo?
I don't know if it is or not. I think
Chrysogorgia?
Yeah, that not all of them are bamboos in these long, like whip corals, but you have to get closer to them to see the base to see if they have that bamboo indicator.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm flying a high delta. You're below me. Or
Oh, that's okay, because
I'm uphill from you.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
I am aware.
Good memory, Emil.
That's totally fine.
I'm finding an article in Science.
I'm sort of trying to stay underneath you a bit.
Yeah, let's help it.
Yeah, from April of 2021, that some Arctic sponges have been found to crawl, but...
Are you kidding me?
I'm not joking.
What?
But they basically sacrifice pieces of their own body, so they will kind of flop down on the rock and form a new attachment and leave behind the old part. This was filmed on boat-towed cameras at depths between 500 and 1,000 meters out of the reach of sunlight. And they found snaking trails of spicules, which is the fragment of the sponge skeleton that gave them this evidence that they're not crawling, they're just flopping down and kind of reattaching.
Wow. Man,
thanks for your question. You know, that was a
super cool question.
Yeah.
Like I would have just said outright, no, there's no way ever. What is that they said in Jurassic Park? Life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
Yeah.
We don't think these sponges do that, just to be clear, but just that there is a sponge that has adapted to do that. That's
what's that below this
Look at that. Things like
looks like a little sponge back down below the coral.
Yeah,
right?
can you get a full zoom there, video?
Baby sponge.
Maybe.
Go, sponge, go.
It's just so wee.
Great look at these polyps too.
Oh yeah, good look at the polyps.
Wow.
Okay, just go a little bit wider video. I think it's time to keep moving down this
I'll come
face.
full wide.
All right. Keep those questions coming. No question is off limits here. You can ask in the chat and we'll get to them as we can.
There's no silly questions, only silly answers.
We got another question coming in. Do we have a medic or medical personnel on board in case we get into any trouble out here? This is someone who wants to, who is in that field, who might want to.
Oh yeah, we have a ship's medic, who's our chief officer, Martina. And we also have access to telemedicine, which is how some of the research vessels I've worked on have run their operations that I've seen, where you have a sat phone and access to 24/7 incredibly expert medical advice at any time. So you have a well-trained medical officer on board who's basically smart hands and will follow the advice of a medical director and can administer medications under the advisory of a medical director at this telemedicine service that we purchase access to, basically. I think that's fairly common for field work. But I can't say for sure. That's just been the research vessels I've been on.
Same here. The chief officer can stop the bleeding and stitch you up.
They usually have a pretty decent field hospital with medications on board, but they don't have the license themselves to administer them unless a doctor, I think our telemedicine facility is in Norway, so a doctor maybe in Norway says, yes, this is the right time to administer antibiotics or something like that. Often they'll be able to administer IVs, be able to deal with situations like acute appendicitis as we, you know, make an emergency transit in or something like that. Sort of like, they serve sort of like a ambulance EMT.
Nav, can you zoom out just a bit on HIPAC?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Steve, do you mind putting the HIPAC up on feed 3, please?
Sure thing.
It's on the big screen there too.
Yeah, we have scientists ashore who want to see it.
Oh, I see, sorry.
No, I got you. So we are at a depth of about 1,700 meters. This is nowhere near the bottom limit of how deep our ROVs can go. Herc can dive to up to 4,000 meters, although we haven't done any dives that deep on this
Looks like we have
expedition.
another ichnodermata.
Oh,
Oh, there it is.
yeah.
That's begging for a peek inside the...
I know, but I got behind. Fine. I will like lose sleep over it if I don't do it. I still have so many regrets. We haven't seen that a sponge like that one I had to pass up before since. So full of regret. Thinking about that whole issue of like providing medical care while we're at sea, like one of the tricky things is you can't really have a physician on board. There's often not enough to keep them busy. You need like the people who do medicine need to have another job on the ship as well. In this case, like be the chief officer or something like that. So I haven't ever been on a ship that had a physician on board, though I've heard of it happening. And generally we have like some medical requirements, some medical screening requirements before you get on the ship. to try and make sure that the people coming on board are not necessarily going to risk their own health by coming out, because we can end up in some pretty, the equivalent of like wilderness scenarios where it's just a really long time to get to definitive care. It's hard to imagine like being in a place where it's like just gonna take like 6 days to get to medical care, but like there's really no faster way to do it. Sometimes you can get to medical care faster from space than you can in the places that we go.
Wow.
Really
Sandfield.
drastic change here. Looking at
Hey,
that.
Herc's on the beach.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm falling behind.
Are these the ripples that we're looking for here in Argus view?
Yeah.
Can we get some caps on Argus?
Oh, wow, yeah. That's great. Great
So
ripples.
those are,
there they are.
one direction, right? There's going from top down.
Whew. We did it.
Nice.
On the saddle.
Woohoo.
So we're quite a ways from the summit of this seamount. We are not anticipating getting that far on this dive, and then when we pull this dive, we'll move on to some mapping. Emil, do you know what the shallowest depth of the summit of this seamount is?
Don Quixote, I'm not sure.
I am looking online. Kate, can you, if you get a chance, get us a summit?
It might take me a bit, but
no worries, just if you get a chance.
Yeah, hold on. Data Lab, this is Kate.
We've got a viewer asking.
Yeah, we definitely wouldn't hit it on this dive, but perhaps on a future.
So many manganese nodules.
Yeah,
Right?
look at the sonar. It's just
Data Lab, this is Kate.
for days.
Bridge Nav.
Is that a coral right there in the middle of all these manganese
Oh
nodules?
no,
Standby.
that's the
Can we please
sea
move
star.
bearing 11550 meters?
And next to
Thank
it
you.
is either an anemone or
Data
see
Lab,
it
this
there?
is Kate.
yeah, good eye.
Hey Steve,
yeah.
Is John or maybe Aaron in the Data Lab? All right. Do you mind freeing up 1 second?
Can I get a zoom video? Try and be a little less aggressive with the thrusters here.
Oh
Never
yeah,
mind,
yeah,
I
yeah.
have
wee
MB Proc right in
little
front
one.
of me. Thank you for your help. I appreciate it.
He's cute.
Okay, go wide.
We know which way the current's blowing.
Yeah, we do. That question is solved.
Zoom in just a touch on Zeus for us, please. Thank you. Well, look, there's a Herc footprint.
Oops.
What
One
creature
small
passed
step
here?
for oceanography.
Yeah.
So want to take a core sample here.
Do you think it would stick?
Do you think it would work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on your footprint.
Andrea?
I don't think so. I don't know how valuable it is. It's not something that we have really said anybody really wants. So
Okay.
No one besides me.
yeah, no one besides you. You're dealing with. You don't want to take the sample.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
want to poke it.
Yeah, this is kind of confirming what we've seen all dive, that these low areas between two local highs, there is not as much going on biologically that we can see with our eyes. And then when we rise up again to the next local high, we see denser communities.
Coming around to, what is it? One something.
Roger that.
Steve, I've got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Is it possible for you to throw MB proc up on the live outward feed?
Yes, let me give it a shot. Give me 1 minute.
We'll be handing off to our replacement crew in just another 10 or 15 minutes. This has been your Tectonic Turtle crew.
Okay, MB proc is up on channel 3.
Cool. So this is a larger view of the Don Quixote seamount, and right now we're climbing up the
Zoom video?
northwest ridge, so we're still pretty far down on the ridge, kind of up in here. We've been going up and down the saddles. But the question was, what is this depth at the summit of the ridge? And you can see that it's pretty flat up top. And the depth up there is about 1410 meters. Looks like it's its shallowest point. So.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, and we're at 1789 now.
Yeah.
So we've got a little ways to go.
It's such
That's
a cool map.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Jinx.
Oh, wow.
I still want to see it on the big screen.
So our navigators and our map folks create these amazing maps and work with them to get us where we want to go. Only 20% of the seafloor is mapped. And even a small fraction of that has ever been explored the way that we're exploring here. Thanks so much for that, Kate. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
We got some cool thanks from the viewers at home that don't normally get to see that when we're diving. You can learn more about the mapping process. We have a few articles and blog posts at nautiluslive.org. Just visit the website there, and you can click on technology, and you will see all about our mapping technology that we use and some of the maps that we've created on previous dives with this amazing technology that we have here. We have to know what we're diving on before we can send the ROVs down. They have to be safe down there. So mapping is always the critical first step.
What is that?
Bridge now.
Oh, an eel in front of us.
Can we move 50 meters, bearing 115? All right, are you guys ready for your nav pop quiz question?
Yes.
There's a fun
Can I get a Zoom video? Sometimes I feel like they can sense the zoom.
It might make a noise.
They're just moving away.
Oh, you're right. It may.
Make a different
Though Herc itself is super loud.
Yeah, I guess a different frequency maybe, but it might just be our imaginations.
Yeah.
But I
This
know what
might be that same eel we've been seeing, but it doesn't look as mottled as some of the other ones.
What do you make of those like ridge-like features in the substrate?
Let's try and get a close-up on his head, Steve.
Let's do it.
Oh, the ones you're seeing in
Oh, yawn.
Argus view? Yeah.
Not
Interesting.
sure.
Oh, he's mad.
Wow.
There's
You
something
better.
that- I do wonder if it's a frequency that it senses.
Oh,
'Cause that
okay.
one's right on the zoom as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you better back
okay,
off.
I'm gonna let him be now. Can we go wide?
Oh, interesting.
Don't even think
That is
about
definitely something my dog would do when he wants to be left alone.
Yeah.
Few rocks of opportunity on the sonar there.
Yeah, I see him. Do you want to stop the ship, or have you guys been? We started handing over sort of mid-move.
it. What's that guy?
Oh, yeah.
No.
You can stop the
Okay.
ship.
Yeah, I'll stop her.
Zoom in.
bridge, Nav.
A little jelly?
I think
Oh,
so.
it's a beautiful one.
All sup.
That is beautiful.
It's anchored out.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got little outriggers, huh?
Huh.
Yeah, that's really
Can we
great.
get lasers off?
You tell me.
Lasers
Wow.
On, yeah.
off.
It is interesting how, yeah, the jelly's anchored.
I'll come full
This
wide
is
for a
really unusual.
Okay.
Yeah.
And beautiful.
Oh, I was gonna swim away.
No. Come back, buddy.
You wait anchor.
No, don't swim towards me. This is danger. Very danger.
Wow.
Okay.
It's all just
Onward.
for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at you, science chat. Any ideas on that
was cool.
critter that we just saw? That was beautiful. What a way to wrap up a watch.
Yeah.
This dive will continue though, so if you're listening along, don't worry. We are still going to be continuing for about another 4 hours up the ridge on Don Quixote Seamount in Papahanu Mokuakea Marine Monument, about 900 miles west of Hawaii here. We are out here for another 2 weeks, so stay tuned to nautiluslive.org where you can get updates on upcoming dives. All right, we got Megan Cook on the science chat saying that is called a sea dandelion.
Oh,
The
Thanks,
thing that we
Megan.
and
Megan.
shout out
That's
to
awesome.
Megan.
We miss you out here, Megan.
Yeah, so it's also and Steve is saying that it's dandelion siphonophore. So that's a type of siphonophore, and the Latin name is Thermopalia. Sea dandelion.
Oh, yes, I remember him fondly. He's a sweetheart.
That was great. We had a lot of viewers chiming in with that ID too. Thanks, friends. We do not have a marine biologist on this watch. That's why we are the tectonic turtles. We think about rocks and we move along the seafloor and pick them up. That's Andrea. That's her influence here. So
And a bit of Dan's, too.
yeah, and a bit of Dan's too. All he wants to do is pick up rocks. So
That makes me happy.
we do appreciate the viewers out there assisting us with IDs and also our scientists ashore. Teamwork makes the dream work, and we couldn't do it without you. So thanks so much.
Tectonic turtles rock. right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We rock the house.
That's right. We also date rocks. We date rocks. We pick
date
up rocks.
It says very clearly on my Tinder profile.
Oh, that's
I date
right.
rocks.
That's right. So stay tuned as we continue to explore this habitat that just keeps changing from these more barren areas to these very high density sponge and coral communities. We have had a great dive and a great time with you here today. We've seen a lot of interesting things and we will continue to explore. If you have any questions, keep them coming in on the chat. And our next shift will come in and answer your questions as they are able to. We'll be back with you as soon as they're in.
Dan, I need to start doing what you were talking about, where I just like lateral around, because I do absolutely get lost when I'm steering around.
Yeah.
Like just wander off, like turn a little to one side, see something great, like over to that side, just like keep following it around.
Herc doesn't lateral too well.
I know.
More of a habit from the square vehicles. Go 2 knots sideways and 2 knots forward.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's another reason I stay away from lateraling, 'cause it can get kind of frustrating.
Lateral's impressive for just having those 2 little wee thrusters in there.
Yeah.
All right, friends, my replacement is here, so I'm signing off. Good afternoon, good morning, or good night. And we'll see you on the next watch.
Bye, Kim.
My replacement's in the winch hold, checking the winch. I see her down there.
Yeah, I saw her too. That's Bobby Argus, actually.
Yeah, Bobby Argus in the winch hold.
Yeah. Still one of my favorite all-time moments on Nautilus. It's when Rennie saw somebody down there and realized that that wasn't on the vehicle. Just amazing.
Wait, what? In the way that the
I
windshield
don't
was
know if
part of the
Steve's heard the Bobby Argus story.
Yeah, the angry eel was shaking his head.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I've heard the story. At least that's how it goes in the story. And Stan signing off.
Steve signing off too. See you guys later.
Hi, hi. Yes. Standing by. You ready? All right, Blinky. I think. No, no, I might have to do it again. Do you have a connection? Okay, stand by. Okay, should be good.
Fish, fish. Oh, goodbye, fish.
Well, good afternoon to our viewers around the world. Good afternoon, team.
Aloha.
Aloha. This is Aphrodita, your communications science fellow. We are very excited to continue this dive.
Oh, see that mouth move? Sorry. He just like opened up his mouth and did a 180. There, he's doing it again. Oh, it's like a cat with the laser.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Whoa.
That's a big yawn.
Jeez. He thinks he's at a heavy metal concert or something.
Oh, what's this fish called?
You're not on, Chris. You're still muted. Nope, your mic is... Boop, there we go. Now we can hear you.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that.
Don't make me come back there.
Yes, well, we are in the house. Hui huakai, Team Sponge.
Are we going to do the ceremony before we get started, or or is it just once a day, or what's the policy?
I think we were just taking advantage of this fish while it was here. And then
oh my gosh, look at that.
Whoa.
It swam backwards there. Did you see that?
Fish.
You jinxed it, Trevor.
Yeah.
Took advantage of it while we
could,
could,
as
right?
You said
Perfect.
that, it took off.
Backwards.
Okay, since it's the start of our watch, we are going to go silence for a moment so that we can conduct our private ceremonial protocol to acknowledge and honor the biocultural resources that are present and that we are interacting with and impacting. So we will be back on SPL shortly. Thank you.
Oh, sounds good.
Okay, we're back.
Hello.
All right. So where are we?
We are in a saddle between two high points on the top of this ridge crest.
We're still on Don Quixote Seamount on the northwestern side still?
Yes, we are. Right. We've just been moving right up along slope on the top of the crest.
Oh, cool.
And we're trying to figure out when that amazing community of corals and sponges tapered out. At some point, it's got to end.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're here. And this is kind of a barrier for them, possibly between the two high points. But we're going to start climbing the rocks again, and very likely we'll see some more. It could just continue on.
Yeah, that was quite a experience this morning. I mean, usually there's not much that gets me excited at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I was all revved up.
Yeah.
That was better than coffee.
Yeah.
Spectacular sponge and coral community.
Yeah,
high density.
It's a good thing that I maintained my cool during that whole thing.
Yet another.
Or did I? Did I?
No, you were very excited. It was quite awesome to see. Yet another reason why we protect this area as Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument and World Heritage Site.
All right, so here we are. They've been making moves about 115, 116, heading up and down these summits and slopes. We're at the base of what looks like another hill. Do we want to continue at the 115, 116 and head right up this slope?
Yes, please.
All right, pilots, are you good for a ship move?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Are we starting with 20 meters so we get settled in?
Sure.
All right. Bridge nav.
Are we looking to zip zoop up the slope, or are we taking our time?
20 meters, bearing 115.
We are gonna zip up the slope, I guess. For
Okay,
now.
Raj. What was the bearing there, Aaron? Sorry, missed it.
115.
Thank you. 115.
Yeah.
So we got all of the rocks we want, and we've got the biologics we want as well, and I think that Beth has got all of her specimens. And
awesome.
Now we're just going to cruise and try to capture close-up imagery. But right now we'll just climb this hill until we get into an area that's kind of interesting.
I'm
and
amazed.
then we might slow down at that point.
I'm amazed we can climb it all with all the rocks they put in there. Hercules. You still got plates left to drop, Trevor?
I have no idea. Yes. No, I have no idea. We have plates to drop. Yep.
All right. Just checking.
So that's a little Chrysogorgia, yeah.
Turn around.
That's different. It has a long stalk before it even starts to branch out, though.
I'm surprised to see him out here. He didn't pick the best spot, I don't think, to spend his days.
Very lonely.
He didn't have to compete with anybody for filtering the water, I don't think, here. And I assume that the last watch explained what we're looking at right now. This is a manganese nodule field. Most people associate manganese nodules with the abyssal seafloor at 4,500 meters, but there are nodules that form in pockets and on the summits of flat-top seamounts out here as well. And these nodules are particularly rich in certain types of minerals, such as cobalt, as they're closer to the oxygen minimum zone, and there's a relationship between the amount of oxygen and the precipitation of metals like cobalt. Not all of them. Cobalt in particular is the one that seems to be sensitive to oxygen levels.
And I thought it was pretty interesting how they form. It's actually from poor outflow water from the sediment coming up and aggregating on these nodules.
Yeah, that was pretty weird. That came from Dr. Kevin Conrad, who set up.
We got some great input on that this morning.
Got a little one of these, I think it's a basket star, possibly, because of the length of the arms.
Oh, this one looks a little in a different form. The legs are curled up, not totally extended, looking upwards.
Yeah, because these guys don't filter the water column the way those Brazilian sea stars do.
Oh.
So normally you see these types of brittle stars wrapped around corals and things, and they're. But I'm not absolutely sure this is a basket star. There's a spiny type of brittle star as well. I'm afraid I don't know them very well.
Maybe it was
this one has five.
Five
what do you
arms.
call them?
Yeah, 5 arms.
5 arms.
Yeah.
I've seen the ones with 13 arms. Are those?
Those are the sea stars.
Those are the sea stars.
And this basket star was out after a really long night and lost its coral.
So we have our usual viewers. Jason is here, welcoming us back, and Veronica from Kauai.
Nice.
Hello, Jason and Veronica.
And any other listeners, viewers out there, let us know where you're watching us from. Thank you for following us at nautiluslive.org, our YouTube channel, Twitter, and Instagram as well. So very excited to show us the seafloor and all of its inhabitants.
So I was wondering if the fact that we saw this high density community in the northern side of this seamount, which faces the kind of the Hawaiian Ridge and And we have a couple of islands near us that have quite a large number of seabirds and guano on them, which exports a lot of nutrients into the environment. Just wondering if that potentially could provide nutrients for this environment.
I suppose it could, but in 2017, when we had some Okeanos cruises up in the Musician Seamounts, which are quite a bit further out and more remote than where we are now, we saw quite a few really beautiful communities up there too.
Mm.
So they may be doing that, but there are other things that are going on here that we're trying to understand.
Just like local upwelling and things like that are more local features.
Right. The current and current direction, current flow rate, type of sediment, substrate, excuse me. I think a lot of things have to come together to be suitable for a community to develop like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of these days, if we find enough of these communities, then somebody's going to be able to model it and really come up with some good hypothesis as to what they're doing. I mean, right now, we know we can find them on ridges. That's why we kind of focus on ridges to try to locate them. There may be other types of terrain, but we haven't really noticed it in deep water. I know off the island of Oahu, Makapu Point, there on the eastern side, there is a marvelous precious coral community that just corals out the wazoo over there, and it's completely flat terrace, it's carbonate.
Interesting.
And it's about 350 to about 450 meters. And the only similarity between here and there is current flow.
Yeah.
You know, the terrain is completely different, the rock is different, the depth is different, although the composition of the community, of course, is quite different. Those are much shallower corals, but
yeah, we were talking the other day about how crazy the currents are out there off of Makapu'u, which is, if you're familiar with Oahu at all, is fairly close to Sandy Beach on that side, and the Makapu'u Lighthouse, and they're just some crazy currents off of that point.
Yeah, so current is most definitely one of the things that needs to be present for these communities to develop, I think. And also, when you have so many animals, you have to have high current flow because you're going to have to bring in a lot of food to support that many animals.
Are we up against a wall?
Yeah, we're at the base of a wall, and we're going to start climbing.
It's wall-esque, yeah. Steeper slope action anyway.
Yeah.
It looks like a wall.
Well, if you look at the HIPAC display over here, we were just in a saddle.
Yeah.
And between two high points, and now we're going to start climbing the second shallower high point.
So how long is that cable between Argus and Hercules again? 20 meters or something like that?
I think it's 30.
30 meters?
I think that's what Trevor said.
Maximum distance. So again, that cable allows buffering from the surface movement of the ship so that Argus, which is heavier and negatively buoyant, and can buffer some of those surface, because right now we're experiencing some fairly good movement at the surface. There's waves rocking the ship, and Argus can buffer that and not transport that energy to Hercules, so it can be more stable for image capture and scientific work and sampling and things like that. It's really a neat system.
See the little float halfway down on the tether?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's to make sure that tether is high and it doesn't drape onto the bottom, because that would be a problem.
That's neat.
So I mean, people have thought these designs out very, very carefully.
Yeah, obviously.
In fact, there may be another float right here. Yeah, you can see it right in the left-hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to keep that tether up.
You do not black corals.
You do not want it touching the substrate ever.
Bamboo corals. Yeah, we're just passing a couple of bamboo corals.
Oh, we did? Oh, sorry.
But yeah, that's the key. There's one, Chris. It's just in the upper right-hand corner of Herc view.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely don't want that dragging over these, because although these communities are pretty fragile, it would topple them.
Well, we'd hurt the animals,
damage.
but we'd also hurt the tether.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we're getting a few more things now that we're starting to get harder substrate. There's a sponge and a couple other little unbranched corals, probably primnoids. That's what they look like to me. That might be a bamboo, the second one over to the left.
That was the sponge we saw most dominant on the other dive. Which is that again? That sponge?
Yeah, well, it's another species of Poliopogon. That's what it's known right now, but it may very well wind up somewhere else in that family. But for now, it's sitting in that genus. DDIO, and away we go on our Hawaiian holiday. Guess you're too young to remember that. That was quite a successful jingle. I have not been able to get that out of my head for 40 years.
Oh boy, that's success. Very sticky. Yep. There you go, Aphrodita. There's their sea star you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
With its arms bent up into the current to filter feed.
Those are interesting marks on the sediment there, those white spots.
Yep, they're burrows for animals that are living in the sediment. They disturb the underlying sediment and kick it up, and it's a lighter color.
Yeah. Well, we have lots of viewers around the world, from all over the U.S., Nevada, Waipahu, Texas.
Waipahu's in the house.
Oregon, Long Island, New York, New Zealand, a few people from New Zealand, Washington, D.C., Oklahoma, Los Angeles, my hometown, too.
Kenneth
Alaska.
Just typed a long message into the science chat there, Chris.
Excuse me?
Kenneth.
Oh, sorry.
Kenneth
Sulak. Okay, there you are, Ken. All right. We didn't see a lot of fish today. I hope you've been able to see some of that video. Let's see. Let me read your message here. Yep, Hydrolagus, the chimerid, the ghost fish. And I was in my room and I saw that.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
Beautiful. Yep. Shark, chimera shark, related to sharks, right?
Well, it's a cartilaginous fish, right?
Okay.
That's the relation.
And the shark and ray family, which are cartilaginous, boned.
Yeah, Ken was, he's one of the premier fish experts in the world there, and he was given some information about those fish because you don't see them very often. They have teeth fused into plates, resulting in a parrot-like beak, which I did not know at all.
And well, that makes sense for grinding echinoderms and things like that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he's saying. You can use it to crush hard-shelled prey. Very large eyes suggest that their prey also includes bioluminescent animals, which is why you would have eyes down here.
Oh, interesting.
Then he did see Synaptobranchus brevidorsalis, which I also thought was that species too, so that's great.
That other eel-like one that was adjacent to the chimera shark, that one?
There was at least one. I think there was more than one as they went on. Let's see, he said... He said it's a facultative predator scavenger which often swims very close to the substrate where a carcass might be encountered.
Ooh, like a whale fall.
I did not know that as well, so really interesting. And actually said other Synaptobranchus species are more active predators rather than scavengers, and they hit squid and shrimp and other things that they can catch. So thank you very much, Ken. Appreciate it.
Well, hello, that's a lot of great information. I think I'm kind of a facultative predator scavenger sometimes.
Aaron at navigation, this is Chris.
Hey, Chris, go ahead.
Good. So in general, can we aim for that high point, the reddest part in your HYPACK display?
Right up in here?
Let's see. Yes, right. That's
Yep, we can do that.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yep. So pilots, that's going to be about 131. Let me just double check. Yep, 131. You want some bigger steps, or are you happy with how this is going? Okay. Bridge nav, can I get a 20 meter step bearing 131?
Well, it's slowly starting to get a little more consolidated. We still got nodules, and we still got some cobbles, but that's going to transition into harder and harder substrate as we get closer to the top of this little knoll, if I guess you could call it, on the top of the ridge. It's not a mountain, it's not a hill, it's just a, yeah, sort of a, well, it was probably some volcanic area on the ridge itself, and that produced a little high point.
Wow. Yes, Kenneth, Chris was in his ultimate happy place at the early part of this dive.
Oh, yeah.
He was in the zone with all the sponges that we saw. Chris is a great sponge aficionado.
I just spent about 30 minutes down in the lounge before this, talking with Jessica all about how the ferronematids grapple the substrate. She's very interested in that whole phenomenon.
Yeah.
How things interact to stick together. And we were just going through pictures of the modified spicules on the sponge that allowed them to do these anchor-like spicules.
Yeah, wow.
It was really fascinating. I actually haven't talked to somebody about that kind of thing for quite a while, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll probably see one of those sponges before the end of this dive, but it's amazing the way that they attach to the rock. They have these strands that come out, and I kind of think of it like Velcro, but it's more like little hooks and strands that just pull really tight onto the rock surface. And Chris was saying earlier that they attach really solidly. It's very, very hard to get them completely off once they're fully attached. Yeah.
It is a very effective way of securing yourself to the substrate. So oftentimes you'll see that whoa, what do we got here?
Ooh,
sponges.
Got a few things.
Walteria.
Yep, Walteria right in front. Walteria. This interesting vase sponge, and it's got brittle stars on it. And more of these Poliopogon. There's a weird one.
Yeah, the one on the right, or this one in front of us?
Yeah, this one in front here. I think it's 2 of them.
Yep. 3.
Yeah, it could be 3. So they tend to be very plastic in their morphology. So, you know, sometimes you can get fooled thinking you're looking at a different species rather than just a growth form that's responding to the current and the slope and substrate.
Yeah, it's amazing how many different forms there are of these sponges. Sorry.
Science, just to interrupt.
Yeah, excuse me, could we image this sponge? No, I'm sorry, wrong sponge, never mind. I thought I was seeing something we hadn't seen before. Please go ahead, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. We think it's probably going to take us about 2 hours to come up, so we'll be leaving the seabed around 5:45 or 6 unless we get a lot of elevation change.
Okay, that's fine. I still think this is a good route.
Yeah, no, I'm not dissing the route at all. I'm just giving you a heads up.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, don't diss my route, please.
You calling Aaron a route disser?
You seem a bit sensitive on the route planning, Chris. just telling you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I am very sensitive about my routes.
Ooh, look at that.
But at least they're not paper routes, they're digital routes. So
you certainly picked a good one this morning, that's for sure. It was epic. You were saying that hits into the top 5 of high density communities you've seen?
Yeah, that was pretty spectacular.